Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carrie, and today I'm doing my January wrap-up. I read 30 books in January. I have a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and let's get started. I want to try doing things just a tiny bit differently for my wrap-ups. I've decided I want to start talking about my series, books that I've read more than one in a series. I want to talk about first, and then I'm going to talk about my standalones or single books that are in a series that I've read after that. So the first up is going to be the Draxonian Warrior series. This is an alien romance. It's by Ella Maven. I read 4 books in the series. I read The Alien's Revenge, The Alien's Savior, The Alien's Healer, and The Alien's Challenge. That is book number 4, 5, 5.5, and 6. So I'm not gonna do each book individually because I've got a lot to talk about. That would take forever. But I am gonna say that the Aliens Warrior series, the Strixonian Warriors by Ella Maven, is one of the best alien romances I've read. I personally like it better than like Ruby Dixon. I've read a couple of hers and I thought they were okay. I love the Ella Maven romance series. It is angsty and sweet, and it's a fated mates kind of situation where after like the male alien warrior saves this human female, they get these little marks on their wrist which shows that they're fated mates or soulmates. And it is just really, really cute. There's a lot of angst and drama that happens in these books, but it's super light reading. It's super easy to get through. And they're just addictive. Like, all of them I've given between 3 and 5 stars, which if you know me in my rating system, 3 stars means I really liked it. 4 stars means that I loved something, and then 5 stars is like my ultimate favorite. So I have never given anything lower than a 3 star to any of these books. I think I've only given 1 or 2 of the books 3 stars. Majority of them have been 4 and even 5 star, which is super rare for me to give a romance like this a 5 star. But I just super enjoy these books. They're very light. I highly recommend. They are a little cheesy, but I really enjoy them. The next series that I have to talk about is going to be Alessandra Hazard's Straight Guys series. I've read the first 4 books in the series in January, and I'm addicted. This is a male-male romance. It is straight up gay for you. These are straight guys that fall for, or they have gay best friends that fall for them, and then it's like a slow burn. Like, it starts out with unrequited love in some of these. It is so good. I won't apologize for liking what I like. And some people think that it's bad in romances to have like male on male action that's unrealistic. Like, to me, it's fantasy. It's no different than a man watching 2 girls get it on, right? Like, plenty of guys watch lesbian porn. Is the lesbian porn they're watching realistic and perfect? No, of course not. So that's the same situation here with these books and me. Like, it is smut. It is so hot. And the thought of like some straight guy just like falling in love eventually with a man and having extremely hot male on male action, I mean, I'm here for it. It is so good. So the first book in the series is called Just a Bit Twisted, and it is about Derek and Sean. Derek is a professor, Sean is his student, and Sean is failing a class, and Sean has heard that the professor is into guys and would maybe pull up a grade if some male on male action happened, and so he offers, and Derek accepts, and that's the whole basis. Like, it's ridiculous, and the 2 end up falling in love, and it is is it politically correct? Hell no, of course not, but it is so good. I really enjoyed it. The next one is Just a Bit Obsessed, and this one is actually a male-female romance in a way where the female is the one who asks her boyfriend to do a threesome, and he agrees because he wants her to be happy, and he ends up falling for the guy that they have a threesome with. The third book is Just a Bit Unhealthy. This one is about Jared and Gabriel, and this one was one of my favorites. I gave it 4.5 stars. The other 2 I gave 4 stars. Like, I ranked them all really high because I I thoroughly enjoyed them. So Gabriel is a football player, soccer player. They're in the UK. All of this is based in the UK, by the way. And they're all like interconnected, which makes it even more unrealistic, because how many straight guys do you know are going to turn gay all in the same friends group? Like, it's just not going to happen, like that many, because all of these are interconnected. They all kind of know each other. So anyway, Gabriel is a soccer star, football star, and he has a obsession with his friend. He's very much so straight, but he has this obsession with this physical therapist who basically saved his life, helped him get back on the field, and the two have like this unhealthy relationship. That's why it's called Just a Bit Unhealthy. And Jared is the physical therapist, and he is very much so gay, and he is absolutely in love with Gabriel, and Gabriel knows this, but he doesn't want to like have their friendship be broken. Gabriel is dating a girl this whole time, and there's a whole bunch of shenanigans that ensue, and there is a pregnancy in this situation, and all of these are like unrequited love that like flips. It's like, how do you get from being a straight guy with a girlfriend to having feelings for another guy to actually trying it? Like, it's super interesting to me, because they get me from point A to point B in a short amount of time, where it's unrealistic, but it's also believable at the same time. I don't know how to explain this. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about the series. It's really good. I gave them all 4 to 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed them. So if you want to check them out, they're really good. They're also all on Kindle Unlimited. The next series or duet that I have to talk about is going to be Dirty Little Secrets. This is by J.D. Holyfield. This is a duet, and the first book is Bad Daddy. The second book is Sweet Little Lies. So Bad Daddy is actually a romance between Heath and Violet, and Violet is going to college. She's in her very first semester. She goes into her dorm room, and she meets her roommate and her father, and it's a romance between this roommate's father and her. She ends up becoming best friends with the roommate, so that causes a little bit of drama. There is some daddy kink in this, some BDSM. It is super hot. 4 stars. I really, really, really enjoyed this one. And then the second duet in this one is Sweet Little Lies. I gave this one 4 stars as well. This is about Gabriel and Hazel. So Hazel is the roommate, and there's some big time drama between her and her father and her roommate at the end of the first book. And then you get to know more about Hazel. Hazel and Gabriel. So Gabriel is Heath in the first book. It's his best friend. So the second book ends up being a father's best friend romance. It also has daddy kink and BDSM in it, and so good. Really, really, really enjoyed this duet. Highly recommend. Okay, so that's it for the series that I've read, where there's been multiple books in one series that I've read them. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be either standalones or books where it is part of a series, but I only read one of the books. So let's go ahead and get started into that one. The first book that I have to talk about is Blame It on the Champagne. This is by Fiona Cole. I gave this one 4 stars, and it was really good. It's about Nico and Vera, and this has kind of a mafia romance in it. It's not exactly mafia, but it's an Italian family. They're in a shipping industry, and it's a very large industry. Her father is a CEO, and he expects her, like, she's gone off to college, she's very smart, but he expects her to do her role as his daughter, which is to marry the man of his choosing. So it's an arranged marriage situation, and she has always understood this. She understood that is her whole life has been leading up to this. Her mother had the same thing happen with her father, and the two of them fell in love, and so she always was kind of expecting it and was almost looking forward to it in a way, because she thought that maybe she would be in a relationship, like her dad would choose somebody for her that she would end up loving and have the same situation as her mom. Well, that's not the case. Her father chooses a ridiculously terrible man who is abusive, and she basically begs her father to not make her marry him, and he's like, no, you're going to marry this guy. And so she finally gets a backbone and she stops it. And that is the point of this book. I'm not going to go into any more details because that would be giving away spoilers. That's just like the basic premise of this book. There is still an arranged marriage situation. It is a forced proximity, and it's also a boss employee romance. There is a grumpy hero in this. It is very good. Gave it 4 stars. It was a little predictable for me, which is why I gave it the 4 stars. It was a little tiny bit slow at moments, but if you like a boss employee grumpy hero, this is a good one. The next book is going to be Room Hate. This is by Penelope Ward. This is an older book that I've been wanting to read for quite some time, and holy tropes. This book had about 1 million of them. There was miscommunication, there was a second chance romance, there's a love triangle, there was a surprise pregnancy in this book, but it's not what you expect. And then, let's see, what else is there? It's a rock star romance. Tons of miscommunication. I don't know if I said that or not. Hate to love. This book had it all, like all in the kitchen sink. It was just a little bit too tropey in my opinion. Like, it almost kind of took away from the book. There were so many tropes, and I was totally here for the first half of the book, and then something happens and it's just like, oh man, like I wasn't expecting it, and I don't think I liked it, but overall I still enjoyed this book. It was good writing. Like, I enjoyed, like, it was a very fast read for me. I couldn't put it down. I wanted to read more. I enjoyed the audiobook for this, so if you're interested in audiobooks, I do recommend that. I gave it 4 stars. It was good. The next book I read was The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I am a little late to this one. Everybody's already talked about it. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time in detail. It is a romance between a girl and her ex's brother. So I was expecting a little bit more of the forbiddenness to this book, but it was more of a cinnamon roll hero. It was, they said also that there was hate to love in this, but it's more like prank to love. Like, they prank each other a lot. It's not really hate to love. Like, there's just no hate to love. I really wanted more of the forbidden aspect in this book to come up, and it just wasn't there for me. I still enjoyed it. It was cute, but it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. I gave it 4 stars, kind of on the lower end of 4 stars. It just needed a little something more from my dark heart, but I still really enjoyed it. The next book to talk about is going to be Filthy Vows. This is by Alessandra. This was a huge letdown. I gave this book 2 stars. I hated it. So the blurb of this is about a girl who says that she has all kinds of fantasies in her head, and that they've been getting worse and worse, and so she ends up telling her husband what her fantasies are, and he gives all of them to her. That's like basically the entire blurb of this book. Like, it's all about this husband who fulfills his wife's needs. And I thought, man, this sounds amazing. Y'all. Nope. So this book is about a girl who has had multiple miscarriages. It's very sad, depressing, and her husband are on the outs to the point of divorce. And she has been having fantasies about other men sleeping with her doctor, her guy at the supermarket, just random fantasies about all these guys taking her. And eventually her husband does find out, and there's like one hot scene at the end between her and her husband's best friend and him. Like, it's a threesome, which it was very, very hot. But it happened at like 90% of the book, and that was like the only sex scene in this entire book. And then it ends on a cliffhanger, and the book just overall is very depressing. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was very, like, the blurb had me super excited, and it just did not deliver on its promise, and I'm just not happy with it. The next book I have to talk about is 2 Weeks Notice. This is by Whitney G. I gave this book 3 stars. It's about Preston and Tara. It's a grumpy boss, grumpy hero, slow burn romance. So, my overall thoughts were, I won't remember this book next week, and that's for dang sure. A month and a half later, I literally know nothing about this book. I don't even remember reading it. I know nothing about these characters. It was not memorable. The next book that I read was Submission. This is by L.K. Shaw. I actually won this book, and the author signed it to me and everything. I was super excited about it. It was good. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't like my favorite thing in the world. This is a BDSM book, and I loved that aspect. It was done very well. I really highly enjoyed it. My problem was this book is very short. And during this point, she added in a surprise baby in a way, but once again, it's not what you expect. And there was a big romantic suspense. So it starts out with this girl who's interested in the BDSM lifestyle, goes to this meeting or this kind of get-together gathering, and she meets this guy who is a dom, and he is wanting to teach her the lifestyle. He is also helping out this girl who was in an abusive relationship. So there's like this romantic suspense element that's going on, and it really takes away from the story, in my opinion, because this guy is like coming after them now, both the main guy and girl. He's a really bad guy. Spoiler alert. After this point, spoiler alert. So, the reason why I didn't like this book is because he is like obsessed with her. He tells her he loves her. They have this whole relationship going. She knows this guy is after him, and so she's there for all of it. But he doesn't tell her that the guy that is after them because not only was he in a relationship with the same girl, but he has a kid with her. And she has no idea he has a kid this whole time, and he's sitting there telling her he loves her. And that was just not okay to me at all. Did not appreciate that. And then it just didn't make sense for a book this short. Like, there's already a BDSM aspect. Like, you could have made it about that, but you made it about something just completely else. And there's just so much going on in such a short amount of time that it just didn't quite work. The next book I have to talk about is Hold Me Today. This is by Maria Louise. This is an own voice representation of a Greek American. This book totally gave me my Big Fat Greek wedding vibes. I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. There was a couple of minutes that it was a little slow, in my opinion. It is a slow burn romance. It is a unrequited love. It's a best friend's brother romance as well. And it also had kind of like a little bit of a Bachelor theme to it, because he did go on a show before they ended up getting together. It's a fake dating romance. There's a lot of different tropes in this, but I really enjoyed it. It is a big chunky book, and like I said, it is very much so slow burn, and it has a couple of real slow moments in it that I was kind of skimming. But overall, I really enjoyed this book, gave it 4 stars. The next book I have to talk about is Bricks. This is by Brooke O'Brien. So this one is a stepbrother romance. It is a kind of hate to love bully romance where he was a complete asshole to her in high school, and now he wants her. It's a very, very typical trope. It was good. Nothing that I haven't read before. I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but if you've read like a stepbrother hate to love romance, then you've basically read this one already. I still really enjoyed it. If you're really into that kind of trope, I suggest it. It's not very big at all. It's very quick, to the point, steamy. It's good. I enjoyed it. The next book I have to talk about is Bombshell. This is by C.D. Rice. This is about Brad and Kara. It is a nanny romance. It is a actor hero. He is a complete asshole. He's unredeemable, in my opinion. I gave this book 3 stars because by the time that he becomes redeemable, like, he's just such an asshole and such an unredeemable, unlikable character that I just did not care about the romance in this one at all. Kind of ruined it for me. So he's this famous actor, and he finds out that he has a 5-year-old kid, and now he needs a nanny. And this girl has been a nanny for years and years, didn't really want to become his nanny, but the kid takes a liking to her. And this guy is like continuing to put on huge parties with drugs and everything while his kid is right there scared, and he continues to live his lifestyle with multiple women and all of that. I just did not like him, did not like this book, didn't care for it, was not it. The next book is Written in the Stars. This is by Alexandria Belfleur. It is about Darcy and Elle. I gave this 4 stars. It is a sapphic romance or a female-female romance. And it was cute. It was very cute. Almost too cute. It was not steamy at all. Like, if you're gonna give me a female-female romance, like, give me some steam in this. And there just wasn't. I think they made it to 3rd base. If we're gonna go talk about bases there. It was cute. It was very, very, very cute. Very typical. Yeah, it was cute. The next book, guys, holy shit. This book is good. Verity by Colleen Hoover. If you haven't read it yet, you absolutely need to read it. It is definitely more of a psychological thriller than it is a romance, but there's definitely very hot romance scenes in this. Holy crap, guys. This book, this ending. It's been over a month since I've read this, and I am still thinking about it. I even have my boss reading this book so we can discuss it. That's how much I enjoyed this book. It's so good. This ending, this whole book is just like, what the fuck? Like, the whole book. It is so good. You have to read this one. Like, I did not think I would like psychological thrillers at all, but holy crap, this is good. You have to read it. The next book to talk about is Come to Daddy. This is by Brianna Hill. This is about Misha and Sierra. It is a kind of like a sugar baby romance, but not really, because there's really no sugar baby aspect to it. The only time that she's a sugar baby is to this guy. They fall in love. She's not really a sugar baby at all because he kind of planned her out to do the whole sugar baby thing so he could give her money. It is kind of a dark romance. It wasn't as dark as I was expecting. It also wasn't as steamy as I was expecting. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the whole world. I'm so sorry, Tamika. I enjoyed it, though. I enjoyed it. It was good. I just expected a tiny bit more than what I got. The next book on my list is Happily Letter After. This is by Vi Keelan and Penelope Ward. I gave this book 3 stars. This was not it for me. This was also a romance where this guy is a single father and his kid is writing in to the local magazine. She's writing to Santa. It was cute, but this 11-year-old girl, Verity, was writing like she was a 30-year-old woman. It just didn't sound very 11-year-old-ish to me, which I don't like an unrealistic child in books. It just didn't work out for me. The romance itself was okay. It wasn't my favorite thing. This whole book was just kind of blah. Not my favorite. The next book is Overruled. This is by Emma Chase. I gave this book 2 stars. I hated it. I hated it. I hated our hero. So it's called Legal Briefcase or something, the series. The 2 main characters are lawyers. The guy has a kid. He's a single father, and he gets something in the mail, which is his ex-girlfriend and / baby mama is getting married, and he is not upset. He's not happy about it because his plan has always been to marry this girl. And he's like, this isn't in the plan, you're mine. And so he takes his current fling, this girl that he works with and has been sleeping with, back home with him to somehow convince this girl to not marry this guy. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But it ends up being a romance between him and his coworker and not him. I don't know. It didn't work for me. He was a total asshole. I hated this book. The next book on my list is Daddy Crush. This is by A. Anders. This is a very short novella. It is about Joshua and Carl, which, Carl, really? Like, who names their hero Carl? I don't know. But anyway, it's an age gap romance. There is a tiny bit of daddy kink in this, just very, very small amount. It is so hot. I gave this book 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Joshua is this very, very good girl, innocent girl. She's a virgin. She has lived in this cult-like lifestyle for a very long time and kind of has just broken free. Her neighbor is Carl, and he has always kind of looked out for her. He is older than her. It's an age gap. And it is just Very, very sweet and very, very hot and short and just to the point and just so, so good. The next book is Wait With Me. This is by Amy Dawes. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.5 stars, almost 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It has a romance author heroine in it. If you don't know the story behind this, Amy actually sat at a tire shop and wrote this whole book. It's this whole thing. It's very popular. Go look it up if you haven't. It's very interesting story. I really enjoyed it. I don't really know what else there is to say. It's about a girl who is writing a romance in a tire shop, and she has this guy who works at the tire shop that she falls for, and it's a romance, and it's cute, and there's a lot of miscommunication in this book. Overall, I really enjoyed it. The one thing I really don't like is the fact that the heroine does keep lying to our hero, and that really annoyed me, which is why I gave it a little bit of a lower rating. But overall, this book stayed with me. I remember it completely. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. Okay, the next book that I have to talk about is going to be His Beauty. This is by Jack Harbin. I can't even think about this book without cracking up laughing. Okay. First of all, I just gotta say this. I will never ever shame somebody for what they like. But I'm just gonna say, my friends, my Goodreads friends who have read and liked this book, I see you. I see your dirty little selves. Oh boy. So I didn't realize I had a trigger until I read this book. Okay. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Whew. Okay. So His Beauty is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is where the beast stays a beast. And logically, I knew this going in, but it's one thing to know going in what the book is about, and it's another thing to read the book. Because holy crap, y'all, I read a bestiality book. That's what this book is. I'm not here for it. Oh, it totally grossed me out. I was literally gagging while reading this one. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, this book. Okay, I'm gonna go into spoilers here because I just can't. I gotta talk about this one. So first I'll say I gave it 2.5 stars because the writing style itself was good, and I didn't want to detract away from it just because of my own personal dislikes. I had no idea. I really didn't. I truly thought I would love this book going into it. I had no idea that I had a trigger for this or that I would not enjoy this at all. I found out that monsters and or beast books are just not for me, where the beast stays a beast. It all I could think about is some gigantic bear type figure grunting into oh boy. Okay, so this beast, he stays the beast, right? And he's got hair everywhere. And this is why I say spoiler, because when they get to the point where they're gonna do the dirty deed, she looks at him and he doesn't have dingling at all. It's just hair. He separates the hair and pulls it out. Oh God. I was literally gagging while reading this and just skimming over and going, oh my God, this is not for me. It's oh boy. Okay. Anyway, I won't read any more beast monster stuff because that was gross. Okay, but to each their own. And like I said, my friends that like this book, you guys, I see you. I see you. You and your dirty selves. All right, enough of that. Next book is going to be American Queen. This is by Sierra Simone. I gave this book 2 stars. This is about Ash, Greer, and Embry. It is a male-male, female romance. There's a political aspect to it. This book didn't work for me at all. I usually love male female romances when they're done correctly. This book was not. So Ash is our main character, and he is currently the president, um, and Embry is the vice president. And Ash had met Greer years before, and they had I don't know, like a meeting where she was underage, but they kissed and it was a thing. And then he leaves her for several years and he gets married and he has this whole relationship with another woman. Embry is also not only the vice president, but he's also Ash's best friend, and they have kind of this on again, off again, male on male romance together. Embry has also met Greer in the past. He is the only person that she's ever slept with before, and I just kind of felt like they put Greer last. Like, she was supposed to be this great love of Ash's life, but Ash put everybody up above her. So it didn't work for me. I didn't really like it at all. It just wasn't for me. The next book is Sell My Soul. This is by Jade West. This was the first book that I've read by this author. I didn't like it. It was, I also gave this 2.5 stars. This was a bit of a new take on selling a girl's body for money. So this is about this group of men that are wanting women to basically degrade themselves for like 3 months straight for a whole bunch of money. Like, it will be enough to set them up for almost life. And they just have to sell their bodies for 3 months and let them, like, there's no limits, absolutely no limits. They could do whatever they want to them. Degrading, nasty stuff. This book was very sadistic. It wasn't very hot, in my opinion. Like, there was a couple hot scenes, but it's more like degradation and humiliation. And if you're into that, good for you. Like, read it. You might enjoy it. It doesn't end in a cliffhanger. I don't know if I'll continue on with the series. It was interesting. It did have a different plot on it. Like, it wasn't a virgin who's selling herself. And it's very much so on the dirty side of things. It wasn't very hot, in my opinion. It was more... I'm just not really into degradation and that kind of thing, so it wasn't really for me. Next book that I read was Go Deep. This is by Real-Z Adams. I gave this book 3 stars. It's friends to lovers. I'm not a huge fan of friends to lovers trope. It was cute. I had a couple of small little problems with the book. It was a little bit unrealistic to me. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me how they have been best friends literally since birth, and they had never had any feelings for each other, but all of a sudden she wants to get her mojo back, so they decide to sleep together. It just didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but I enjoyed it. It was good. It was cute. It is black love romance. I enjoyed it. It was cute. It wasn't my favorite thing. And the last book, finally, we're on the last book. This was a lot of books this month that I read was The Glue. This is by Kay Webster. I gave this book 4 stars. This is also a male-female romance. It was done correctly this time. And this is about Aiden, Vaughn, and Vale. So Vaughn and Vale are a married couple. They are on the outs and to the point of divorce. And Aiden is a college student. Vaughn is his teacher. Vale is his employee, and he has feelings for both, has no idea they're a married couple, and is like flirting with both of them, interested in both, and then finds out that they're married. And they call it The Glue because they say that Aiden is their glue, like he is the person that is keeping them together, and it just works for the 3 of them, and it is a poly relationship that is just beautiful and sweet, and I really enjoyed it. So that is it. That is my January wrap up. Holy crap, that was a lot of books to get through. Let me know what you think of the books in the comments below. Did you read anything that I need to read? Let me know. We'll talk there.